NT Sports Blitz Podcast, episode 5. I am Neef, also known as the Fat Boy. Holla at me.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy G Perry. Welcome to the NT Sports Blitz, episode 5. We're excited. We're looking forward to being back and bringing the excellent fire show to our listeners, to our viewers. There's a lot that took place over the past week in sports, so we're ready to get rocking and rolling and get right into it.
Very busy.
So things have changed drastically in the NFL. And the reason I'm speaking to that is because Patrick Mahomes, he got to the bag. Patrick Mahomes signed a mega deal, 10-year deal, $450 million. It could go up to 503 if he meets all the incentives. But he signed a 10-year, $450 million deal. And if he maxed out all the incentives, $503 million is what it could be. So he signed the richest deal in American sports history. That is crazy, phenomenal. I'm out of adjectives to describe it. I'm excited though, because football, the NFL came a long way in some areas, and we definitely gonna dive into that. But Neef, when you saw that across the screen and you got news that Patrick Mahomes signed that crazy deal, what was your first thoughts on it?
First off, I want to say, like my man said on Coming to America, that boy good. That boy no joke. My first thoughts was like, damn, 10 years is a long time. But once I start breaking it down mentally, I think about the Scottie Pippen situation. And it's kind of similar, but it's not. When you sign a deal for that long, we're about to add another game to the season, I think, next year. Not this year coming up, but next year is going to be 17 games instead of 16. More money. Right. Another 2 more playoff teams added, another game, 2 more games added to the playoffs, more money. So I'm kind of concerned with – I'm not concerned, but I'm curious. I wonder what made him sign that deal, for the simple fact that how that money look now might not look the same in 10 years, even though his skill set might look the same or even better. When I think about it, I think about the fact that, he could have these 3 good years, Andy Reid could retire, and he might not be the same guy, and he might fall off a little bit. Then, like he won. But when, 2028, are we going to look at this deal the same way we're looking at it now is what I'm thinking about. So I'm wondering what made them commit to something so long, and if there's something in there that says that after a certain amount of time, he can renegotiate.
Well, let me ask you this. Is Patrick Mahomes the best quarterback in the NFL right now?
Yes, I think so.
Do you think Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL?
Yes, I think so. Okay.
Who's the current Super Bowl champions?
Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, so for all the right reasons, it made all the sense in the world for them to lock him up. Patrick Mahomes, he's only 24. Right. And the things he's accomplished in his short period of time in the NFL, he already is a league MVP. He's already a Super Bowl champion. He's already a Super Bowl MVP. So it made all the sense in the world for them to just go ahead and do right by him. Unlike Dallas, that's been dragging things along with Dak Prescott. Dak's not on Patrick Mahomes' level, but his stats speak for themselves. And Dallas has been doing much better since he's been under center, and he still hasn't gotten a full commitment from that organization. So Kansas City said, we're not going to play those games. We're going to do right by our quarterback. And I know Patrick Mahomes said himself that he wanted to gain financial security, but he also wanted to leave wiggle room for the team to be able to still build and add talent as well. But
hold on, for people who don't know, how does that leave wiggle room, him signing that kind of deal?
Well, they didn't handicap themselves as far as the salary cap goes. With NFL deals, typically, they'll usually front load the contract, meaning that the player gets a lot of that money in their contract up front. It's actually the reverse. So in football, the guaranteed money is the signing bonus, and we didn't mention that. He has $140 million out of that contract that's guaranteed regardless of like injury and stuff like that. So out of the full amount of the contract, if he was to get hurt, he's definitely still getting $140 million out of it. But typically, the guaranteed money is what an NFL player knows they're getting without a shadow of a doubt, regardless of whether they play or not. What the negotiators usually do is backload the contract, and they put the bulk of the money towards the later years in the contract. And they usually end up cutting players or releasing them before they get to all that money.
Right.
I definitely don't see that happening in Patrick Mahomes' case because he's so young. He's only 24, and now in today's NFL, quarterbacks are playing into their 40s, as we've seen with Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, Tom Brady. So I don't think that's going to go away, and I'm pretty sure his game will evolve over the years, where he won't rely on athleticism as much, and it'll be more cerebral, like a Drew Brees and like a Peyton Manning. But the other thing I wanted to bring up is historical context. So in
Okay.
the NFL, Joe Montana, he was the best player in the NFL in the 80s. Like, it's not even debatable. San Fran won 4 Super Bowls. But I want to point out 3 contracts that Joe Montana signed, and he arguably was the best player in the NFL during the 80s. His first contract was a 6-year, $6.3 million contract. His second contract, and this is after he won a Super Bowl, 3-year, $10 million contract. Third contract after Joe Montana has endorsements, crazy. He's the face of the NFL. He signed a 4-year, $13 million contract. Now, move forward to the 90s. Dallas Cowboys was the winningest team in the 90s, so I looked at Troy Aikman.
All right.
Troy Aikman signed a 9-year, first he signed an 8-year, $44 million contract after Dallas was winning. And then his last contract was a 9-year, $85 million contract. And he was at the height of his game. Dallas won 3 Super Bowls in the 90s. So if you look at that and you look at Patrick Mahomes signed a $450 million contract and he's black, that's mind-boggling, man. Like, that really blew me away, just to put things in historical context, and just how much more money the NFL brings in now with TV deals and revenue and things of that nature.
And let me ask you this, because I'm curious. You brought up Dak Prescott. With that deal being done, is he the only one who's going to get a deal like that? Can we see a Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson? Their contracts are coming up. Can we see something similar to that, or will this be the only one we see like this?
In my opinion, I would say no, that they're not going to get the type of deal that he got, because they're not Patrick Mahomes. What he's able to do is ridiculous. He's able to do video game like stuff on an NFL field. The other thing is that he won a Super Bowl already, so he's been a starting quarterback for 2 years. In
Right.
year one, his team got to the AFC Championship game, which is a game before the Super Bowl. And if their defense did their job, they would have went to the Super Bowl. So they lost in overtime in the AFC Championship. Year 2, they won a Super Bowl. So Lamar Jackson, he's been a starting quarterback for 2 years now, and he's 0-2 in the playoffs. His team has not won a playoff game yet. They played San Diego last year, and Baltimore struggled mightily. He really couldn't complete passes, and they mounted a comeback, but they ended up falling short and lost. Now this year, Baltimore was the number 1 seed in the playoffs, and they got their behind kicked by Tennessee. So Lamar Jackson would need to win on the field and win some playoff games and things of that nature to elevate himself in that category. So he hasn't done that yet. As far as Deshaun Watson, he has one playoff game, but he hasn't made it to the AFC Championship game yet, and he's not on Mahomes' level either. So I think if those guys are able to start winning, then maybe they can talk about getting in that stratosphere, but they don't have the situation that he has. Patrick Mahomes, he went into a perfect situation. I mean, he got linked up with the perfect quarterback coach, Andy Reid, who has developed multiple quarterbacks over the years. He went into a team that was rich with talent, and things just fell into place perfectly for him. So you couldn't have asked for a better situation in his regards when it comes to that.
Okay.
But moving forward, Washington Redskins have been in the news heavy with the current temperature of things in the country, and a lot of attention on racial inequality and social justice. People want that name changed. The Redskin name, they want it changed. And that's been an ongoing debate for years with their owner, Daniel Snyder. So what happened was Nike and FedEx, they both put some pressure on the Redskins to get that name changed. Amazon also this week, they pulled all Washington Redskins merchandise off their site. They will not be selling anything. So, pressure bust pipes. So now
Damn, I was about to say that.
yeah, they're applying pressure, man, because they're sick of Daniel Snyder just turning his nose up and thumbing his nose at the Native American community. That's something that should have happened a long time ago, and now you got to hit people like him in the pockets in order to invoke change. But when you heard of that, I mean, what was your thoughts initially on that, Neef?
Uh, about time. And what's crazy about Daniel Snyder is the Redskins have won in the past, but they haven't even won under him. So I don't even understand how he could turn his nose up at anything. But, I mean, I think this is the first, as far as teams, just a couple other teams, the Braves and the Kansas City Chiefs even. So it's the first of I think we're going to see more of that, more of that happening. But it's crazy too, like it was crazy how they changed the Washington Bullets to the Washington Wizards, but then the Redskin thing was, it was a lot of pressure. Was it pressure for that? I can't. Why
It
was the Bullets?
was. It was. He just didn't cave into the pressure.
Right.
There's also been some other developments with that. There are Daniel Snyder is not the sole owner of the Redskins, so there's minority owners, and four of them are looking to sell, and they own about 40% of ownership.
I thought it was three of them.
It was three or four. I thought it was four, but the minority owners they're looking to sell, and they own 40% of the Washington Redskins. So there's a trickle down effect, and what was reported is that it's been an ongoing beef between the minority owners and Daniel Snyder, and they're pretty much fed up with him, and they're looking to pretty much move on. But there could be a possibility that would happen in the NBA when the Clippers' former owner Donald Sterling was forced to sell because of racist comments he was caught making that were recorded. The NBA basically ousted him. So will the NFL step up and take similar measures with the Washington franchise as well? Something else you mentioned, Neef, you mentioned about the Redskins. They won back in the day. They haven't done no winning in such a long time.
Right.
It's pitiful. I'm surprised he's still the owner because they've been the epitome of mediocrity for a couple of decades now. They won a Super Bowl and they won two Super Bowls in the 80s. They won a Super Bowl in 1991, led by Mark Rippon. But since then, they've really been trash and garbage and have not been a good representation of the DMV area. They've just been mediocre over and over and over again. And, we just broke down the NFC East a few episodes ago, and I have watched them come in fourth place again because they just didn't put things in place to really be a difference maker or make any noise from a winning standpoint.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like they look bad, man, and I don't think any free agents want to come play. Like it's time for a change. I can't see them moving him out because of that. Like, and this is the first time we even heard him talk like he, with everything was no way. Now it's more of a he's a little bit more loose with it. And like you said, man, that's how you get them. You're affecting their money and stuff like that. It's been a long time I've heard. People on TV say we're not going to call them the Redskins. We're going to call them the team in Washington. And that stuff, that really bothered him. Like you said, now that it's affecting his money, he's more willing to bend and change. It's sad that it comes to that, but, it's sad that you're so insensitive that it takes for your money to be bothered for you to open your eyes and look at a change. But,
Yeah, for years, he was just riding off his privilege and his power and his control. Right. But because the climate of our country has changed, that's the only reason that we've seen this this occurrence. Because had the uproar not occurred, they probably wouldn't be making this move currently either. But I mean, better late than never. And like you said in the beginning, is about time. It's definitely about time. I mean, it's not okay to keep marketing and branding something that's offensive to an entire group of people.
This ain't the first. This is the first of many to come. It seems like so.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But moving on, McCord Maker is one of the top high school basketball players getting ready to go to college. He's the cousin of Thon Maker, who's an NBA player.
Right.
McCord Maker was ranked number 17 as rankings for high school players, and he committed to go to Howard University, to an HBCU, which is an enormous deal. At the end of the day, there's been some rumblings within the last few months of some high-ranking Black basketball players that have considered going to an HBCU. And I've also heard from some of the sports community that the top players should make a change and stop going to the top D1 programs and go to HBCUs if they want to invoke change. So McCord Maker, he's actually made good on that, and he took action. I know for him personally that he's hoping that he's the first of many, and that others will be willing to step up and take that challenge on as well, and just make a pivot in sports, because these universities, they benefit and they profit ridiculously all off of these top athletes coming to their programs. So I mean that's a big deal. Neef, what do you say about that?
Um, I I think it's 2020. Right now, how I see it, I heard that the NBA is starting a league in Africa. You know, if you got talent, they're going to come see you. So it's not like you have to go to Duke to be seen. In 2020, we can see everybody. So you can go to a historical black college and still be seen. They're going to come to you. The scouts are going to come, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what we want. I mean, end of the day, we seen not 10 years ago, Steph Curry and Davidson. Wasn't nobody checking for Davidson. If there's talent, you're going to see it. It's going to be on TV.
Right.
So I think now let's make that happen. You don't have to go, and you see how entitled them guys feel because, I just thought of this right now. I don't got the guy. It was like 2 years ago. Guy was supposed to go to Syracuse. He didn't go. He went and he did some like voluntary work for, I want to say New Balance or something. And he went Clutch Sports, right? He
Right.
was to go to Syracuse, and who coached Syracuse? Jim
Jim Boeheim.
Boeheim, right?
Yes.
Was very upset about that. These D1 schools feel like they have some kind of own, or they're old, or they have first dibs on things, and that's not
Right.
right.
They feel entitled. They feel entitled.
Exactly, and that's wrong. And I'm glad that Maker made that choice, and hopefully we'll see more players do it. And on the low, on a very, very low, I'm hearing maybe Bronny James might be going. I'm hearing that it's a couple years out.
I would love that. I would love that to happen. Sports is a major moneymaker for the economy and for the world. And when the top players are going to Alabama and Duke, North Carolina, Michigan State, Arizona, Oklahoma, like they're lining the pockets of these schools because they're selling out stadiums because they have the top players or players that's pegged to go to the NFL or to the NBA. They're selling jerseys and merchandise. They're making billions of dollars for these schools. So if you don't have proper support or representation or enough vendors that's giving back into the HBCUs, you're going to close down. So now if these athletes go to the HBCUs, that's going to bring tons of attention. That's going to line their pockets for jersey sales, for merchandise being sold, their games being sold out and things of that nature. If their schools make it to the NCAA tournament, that's more money that they make for playing in those tournaments and things of that nature. And back in the day in sports, the top athletes, black athletes, they did go to HBCUs. Jerry Rice is the greatest wide receiver in NFL history. He came out of Mississippi Valley State. Walter Payton, one of the greatest running backs in NFL history. He played at Jackson State. And there's a lot of other players as well. It was the norm back in the day. So I think it's time for life to resurface. Like old things that occurred, they always end up coming back in style. So I think it's time for top athletes playing at HBCUs to go back in style as well. I think that would right some wrongs, and that would change the balance of power for the better for the black community.
Also, I think when I think about like my child going to school and stuff, like I'm not so sure how much. First of all, like a Jim Boeheim, and I mean no offense to Jim Boeheim, but that's just his name on the top of my, right now in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
But if my young 17-year-old black son going to play at Syracuse with a Jim Boeheim, who's white, and there's no offense to that, but at 70 years old, can you really relate to my son and give him the, when I feel like when you give, especially like a coach, your child, not only am I giving you my child to mold him in that area of sports, but also as a man. And if we got on a black campus with, black coaches, no offense, I would kind of want my child in those hands who can help mold my child, even though I can't on a daily basis in that distance. You get what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm wrong for that or that's unoffensive.
No. What you're talking about is a coach uh, being transferred responsibility from the parent. Because when you send your kid to college, if they're playing sports, you're entrusting that coach to guide your child, to provide leadership for your child, to basically fulfill a parental role because the parent's not there on campus with them on a daily basis. And when coaches go out and they do recruiting trips and things of that nature, they're sitting down in living rooms with those families, gaining the trust of the parent to make them feel comfortable to send your child with me. I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to lead them. I'm going to guide them. I'm going to mentor them. That is the responsibility of a coach. So you're 100% in bounds with that line of thinking. What you're getting at is the coach being able to relate to a black player and to guide him as a black male from trials and tribulations that he's going to go through throughout life and things that they're going to incur.
On your mostly white campus, if you get what I'm saying? Like if I'm sending them to Syracuse, you know?
Right. Yeah, I mean, you're 100% in bounds with that. I mean, from a parental standpoint, that is absolutely important, and that's something to take into account. But still on the topic of college sports, Zion Williamson, it seems like the Sharks are still trying to come after him and his family. They're alleging that his stepfather received $400,000 in money prior to Zion attending Duke University. And this is kind of like a spinoff of the earlier topic when we discussed the whole Reggie Bush thing. Because when we talked about that, I told you my personal opinion. I don't give a darn. I could care less if parents receive benefits because the universities are making money off of their kids. The university is making hundreds of millions of dollars off of that individual's child. Why shouldn't that parent receive some compensation for it? Why not? Now, I can go to the other side of the spectrum. And I can understand where it would be unfair. This is how it would be unfair. If you have larger universities that have a bigger budget and they have boosters that have more money, then the smaller schools, they can't compete with them because they don't have the same size budget. They don't have the boosters that have those long pockets with that money. So it would create an unfairness there. Aside from that, I don't care. You're making money off those players. What difference do it make if their parents benefit in some way, shape, or form from you greatly benefiting off of their son or their daughter? I just think one hand wipes the other, in my honest opinion. Why should the NCAA receive all the benefits?
Right, because they're not just making money; they're making a whole lot of money.
Yes,
and a whole lot of things won't be going on in that university without that basketball and that football money.
Yeah.
What bothers me is even like why now? Like it's over. So why are we even? There ain't even a Heisman Trophy you can take from them. So like, why are we even pushing the subject right now? Is what sticks out to me. Like, why now? I mean, he did a year in college. Duke got plenty from it. If his family benefited from it, why are we talking? He's in the NBA right now.
Because somebody didn't get what they wanted out the deal. You know how it go. Somebody didn't get their way. Their feelings hurt. Their pockets might be hurting because they didn't get what they were promised, and now they want to be a whistleblower.
Right.
That's he didn't how it usually go.
Right. He didn't go the way they wanted it to go. So so that's sucker stuff. So end of the day, it's very broadish.
Exactly.
I can't. Nah. I'm not doing that.
That's crazy. But sticking with college sports, there's been some breaking developments with college football. The Big Ten has made a ruling in a final decision that they're only going to play conference games if there's a season this year. So that's going to cost tons of money because the non-conference schedule is basically what propels teams up in the rankings and allow them to make it into the college football playoffs. So there's a ton of big games. Washington University was supposed to play somebody in the Big Ten. Notre Dame has several games scheduled against the Big Ten and other teams as well. So it's going to be a big trickle-down effect from that and a lot of money lost. But it keeps bringing that same question that I've asked on some of our previous shows. Should they just cancel the seasons for these different sports entities because they can't get a rep on coronavirus?
What's the difference in them playing a team in their conference and them playing a team that's not in their conference? It's not like to me that, we're familiar with each other, so our body, scientifically, there's no difference whether it's a team in Washington or a team that you play twice a year. So I don't understand why we just playing either we gonna play football or we not. Trying to break it down to the point where we're saying, we're just gonna play conference games. I don't see where does that stop the corona influence or?
Well, one of the things with it is the logistics. So when these teams have to play games, they have to prepare with travel, lodging, and things of that nature. So going far away from your location,
Okay.
I think it's more preparation that goes into that, and it's more risk, and is what I'm getting at, that they're taking into account. If you're playing more so within your region, they can better prepare for things in that regard.
Okay.
And from what they're the conclusion they're coming to, I think they think they're cutting down on the risk, as far as trying to put a containment on exposure for their players. I mean, the other thing is these players that got back on campus, the college football players, and the positive tests have been popping up left and right all over the place. I mean, Clemson University had like 23 or 32 people that tested positive for coronavirus, and the numbers aren't going to stop. So that's why I keep asking this question. Like, y'all really need to give strong consideration to not having a season. The Ivy League, they also made that same decision as well. They're only playing conference games, and they're going to play it in the fall, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
But I mean, we talked about this already, Neve. Coronavirus is not going away no time soon.
Right.
And we really don't know the long-term effects with this thing. Rudy Gobert, who plays for Utah Jazz in the NBA, he tested positive when the NBA season was still going. And to my knowledge, he still hasn't regained his full sense of smell.
Oh, wow.
As a direct result of him contracting coronavirus. So we really just don't know, like, what can happen and what can't happen and how it's going to affect your body long term. So I think they just need to take some additional precautions as well, not just keep thinking about the dollars.
You know what, G? I was really like down. I'm starting to come to your side of things. I think with all the stuff going on, just in general, just in the world general. But we talking sports right now. Everything's moving too fast, and everybody, it felt like things slowed down. Like it took forever to slow everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Like it took too long to slow it down, and then now we're moving too fast to open it back up. And you look at the numbers and how the numbers are still going up, but in other places it's not. Just in general, just in the world, not even just talking sport. Well, just in America right now,
right?
Everything needs to just probably let's go back into. I hate to say it, and I don't really want to. As far as me personally, I think it's best for everybody to just go back to being in the house, and I think that might be the best move. End of the day, like there might be some financial losses, and but end of the day, better now than later. You know what I mean? Because we're gonna be in November, and we might
still
be
dealing with it.
Going back to I feel like the quarantine thing is going to have to happen again before we can really get to the point where as though this is fading out. And
right. I mean,
so either do it now or do it in November, December. But I think it's gonna have to happen.
Think about the old military saying, "Safety first,"
right.
is what the military always goes by, and the politicians, they need to take that into consideration. What I see with politics, whether it's sports politics or it's political politics with civilians, is that they think with their political agenda and money first and health and safety second, and it should never be that way. It's not okay to sacrifice lives, to sacrifice people, and basically treat them as a casualty of war to fulfill your agenda. Like that's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be way different than it.
I'm with you on that, G.
And if you've been paying attention, the numbers are starting to increase again. Florida, Texas, California have now become hotbeds.
Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona, because I paid attention to months ago where people were really playing around with things. In Texas, they were still having barbecues, block parties, cookouts. Nobody were wearing masks. They was just coming and going as they pleased. No, they didn't take things seriously. Florida, you had people that was traveling to Florida back and forth, going to the beaches. It was all fun and games, all willy-nilly. People going to Miami all crazy. And now those numbers are going back up because people were being careless and reckless. And they thought that this is all a big hoax. It's not a big deal. But now people are suffering the consequences of that ignorance, of that stupidity. So yeah,
and it's starting
to take those things into consideration.
It's starting at the top too. So when you got the top doing it, you know what I'm saying? Like they talking about, and this ain't sports related, but they talking about sending these kids back to school right now in a month. Like, come on.
It don't make sense. I mean, this is just common sense. If you have to have a Zoom meeting to discuss kids going to school, that means it's not safe. So then how could it be safe for the kids to actually go to the school and it's not safe for the people to discuss them going to school in person? That doesn't even make any sense. Again, people putting their agendas first and putting human life second.
True.
But staying on the COVID topic, with the NBA, the New Jersey, the Brooklyn Nets, Spencer Dinwiddie, he tested positive again for COVID-19. So now he's not going to be coming back and playing with the NBA restart. And Taurean Prince is one of their starting forwards. He also tested positive. So now the Brooklyn Nets, they have no Kyrie Irving, no Kevin Durant, no DeAndre Jordan, no Spencer Dinwiddie, no Taurean Prince. Why are they even coming back? They're the 7th seed right now. They're not going to make no noise in the playoffs. So they ended up signing Michael Beasley. They brought him back, and two other old timers. That's not really making no noise, man. Like, why are they even bringing them back to play? What do you think about that decision?
I mean, I don't know where it's coming from. And I mean, I want it. Like, I ain't gonna hold you. I want it. Like, as bad as I want it, just my sports side, I totally get what you're saying, and it makes sense to just wait. And, I have no, as much as I talk, I have no.
Now, let me clarify, because I don't want you to get me wrong. I'm not saying why is the NBA restarting. I'm saying why is the Brooklyn Nets coming back? Because they can't do anything. Washington, Orlando's the 8th seed, and then the Washington Wizards, they're coming back as well, but their best player, Bradley Beal, he's not coming back.
None of their players are coming back.
Yeah, allegedly a shoulder injury. But Bradley Beal know that his team has no realistic chance of making the playoffs, so why come back and play? So they
I don't know. See, now for me, G, that right there to me, I'm gonna use that term again, broadish, man. Like, any given night, man. Like, end of the day, for me, if you can play, you're supposed to play. You're supposed to tie up. If we, even if you play spoiler, it's all about your mentality. You know what I'm saying? You know what? I might not be in it. Like, I hate people. We talk about fantasy football. I hate people who play fantasy football and then 10 weeks in, you done gave up and you don't put a lineup in. No, I'm going to keep putting the lineup in.
I'm going
to keep putting the lineup in because guess what? If I can't win it, I'm going to stop my opponent from being able to win it too. I want my opponent to feel like, damn, daggone it, he messed up my opportunity to go to the playoffs or whatever.
That's a real sucker move.
Right.
I don't like when people do that, man. You messing up the league.
Right.
In a competition.
Exactly. So end of the day, I will play spoiler. If I'm Atlanta, not Atlanta, if I'm Brooklyn or if I ain't got, guess what? I don't want you to win either. I want to be the reason why I'm gonna send you home with some nicks and some bruises or something. That's what you're supposed. That's real competition. Real competition. I'm not gonna quit. I'm not okay. If I ain't going, you're not going either. And I want to be the reason when you laying in the bed wishing you had a championship, I messed that up for you. So that's my motivation. And the money these guys are making, it's me doing it for the love. Right. Y'all getting all this money. Ain't no way Bradley Beal making the money he making. Well, Bradley Beal been healthy, so he only got no excuse. Who was hurt and didn't say he was coming back? Main man from Indiana.
Oh, Victor Oladipo.
Oh, but I understand him more because even though he came back, he hasn't been himself. And, so I understand him not coming back. Right. But a Bradley Beal, you making $30 million a year, if you healthy enough to play, you should play. And I feel like if you don't, then you're a sucker for that.
Yeah, that's called going down fighting, for those of you that's not aware of that. And that's when you know whether a person really has competitive drive or not. Real
and
competitors.
Guess what? If I'm a GM, I'm looking at that. That means something to me. But if you want the big contract and you want to be if you're a team leader, you're out there with your team if you can be out there.
I mean, I got a real life story for myself. I mean, I played high school football. My team was not good, but I'm competitive, and we were getting blown out. I think we were playing South Philly High School, and we were getting blown out. And I caught a post over the middle. It's late in the game. I ended up getting injured. I caught the pass. I got hit by like 4 different people. I partially tore my ACL, and I sprained my MCL on that play. And my dad was upset, and he was like, why did the coach still have me in the game? Because I was one of the best players on my team. But I'm like, why would I not be in the game? I was trying to score a touchdown. Like, I'm balling out. I'm going hard until it's 0 on the clock.
So the whistle blow, right?
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to be. So some people just not cut from that cloth that have that mindset that I'm riding until the wheels fall off.
And guess what? Rest in peace, Kobe Bean Bryant. He'd have played in his team, not nothing. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like, and that's why Bradley Beal, he's a bucket. Don't get me wrong, but he's never lived up to the. I'm not. To me, I'm not excited to have you on my team if you're not going to play. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of the day, if your team is on the schedule, play, man. Point blank, period. Play.
Right. So still sticking with basketball, we got live basketball within the last week. TBT, the basketball tournament is back in action, back in the fold, and it's actually been exciting games. So it's not just some bums off the street that they put together. They actually have 64 teams that's a part of this, but they dwindled it down to 24 teams that compete in the tournament, and it's $1 million prize that's up for grabs. So every team has a roster of 10 players. So whatever team wins the title, each player wins $100,000. So it's something that they're really going after. But it's former college players, Division I, Division II, guys that played professional overseas, and like this year, I know Joe Johnson, ISO Joe, former NBA player, he's in a tournament, and he's playing.
Is he?
Yeah, he's playing for the number 2 ranked team, Overseas Elite. Overseas Elite has won this tournament a lot of years.
I quit a game with them.
So they had some guys that wasn't able to participate, so they reloaded, and they put some fire in their lineup, for the lack of a better word. But Philly, they had some representation in the tournament. They have a team called Brotherly Love, but unfortunately Brotherly Love lost today to the Marquette-led team. They put up a good fight and they made it to the round of 16. But the tournament has been exciting. There's no fans in attendance, so it's just the teams, their staff, and the ESPN commentators. But it's been like regular basketball, like we watched with the NBA. I've been excited watching the games. You know, I'm chiming in from my living room, commenting on the game, like, that's a foul, that's a charge.
Texting me, turn on ESPN.
Yeah. So for me, it's kind of like a little preview of what it might be like watching the NBA when they do return. So it kind of gave me a spark. Like, I'm looking forward to the NBA coming back, and I'm interested to see how things play out. But the number 1 seed, Carmen's crew, which is usually a group of Ohio State former players, they got upset and eliminated early in the tournament. So it's coming down to the wire. I think tomorrow and Sunday it'll be the Elite 8, the final 8 teams, and then it'll go down to the final 4, and then that tournament is going to be concluding on July 14th is when the championship will be. But have you caught any of the games, Neef?
Yeah, I seen when you I think you posted about it and I checked it out. Then you texted me like, "Yo, turn on ESPN." And I definitely I watched a couple games. I watched the Clemson team. I think it's the Clemson team. I watched one of their games.
Okay.
Like you said, man, it gives me a little feel for what it's going to be like when the league starts. Definitely it's good to have basketball. I mean, like I said, I don't know if I said it here, but I had at one point I was watching, like, not really watching, but I came across like even them playing like the E games on 2K, and I had sat back here and was watching. You know, I stopped and watched for a little minute. So, you know, that sports hunger, you know, that sports itch. You know, I definitely watched it. I definitely enjoyed it. I got to figure out what time to come up. You know, because it seemed like the time switch up.
Oh, the games come on at 2 p.m. and 4 p.m.
On the weekdays.
Yes.
Okay, that's why I probably was. I've been working, so. But I had caught them at night, and like I said, yeah, it's definitely been entertaining. It's definitely been good games. What is it with the fourth quarter and the games go to 85 or something?
Gotcha. So what they have in place, remember the All-Star game, the NBA All-Star game is
how they did that.
The target score. Well, the TBT, the basketball tournament, they have that in place as well. So when it gets to the 4-minute mark left in the game, I don't know if they do 8 points out or 10 points out. But let's say, for instance, the score is like 70 to 65. The target score might be 78. So that means that the team that's losing, y'all just got to get some stops. Y'all got to get some buckets. But the team that's winning, if they get to 78, then that's game. Okay. So it kind of makes me think of like roughhouse. I mean, or you playing the 21s. Whoever get the 21 first, they win the game. So I think it's definitely a unique twist, a unique plot twist in the basketball game that you do that, because it actually still gives the team that's behind an opportunity to come back. If they get hot and get on a roll and they get a couple stops, they get some steals and stuff like that, they can come back and win that game. And it's been some exciting down to the buzzer finishes where teams ended up winning the game like on a dunk, a steal and a dunk, or alley-oop and a dunk. So I've really been impressed by this tournament.
Now we haven't got a chance to talk about this. I'm throwing something out there I just thought of. We did bring up the All-Star game in the NBA. Did you like how they implemented that, and do you think that should be a part of what they do from here on out?
Absolutely.
Made it more competitive, right?
The best All-Star game since like 1992 or 93 when Magic Johnson came back and played in one league.
No, it was another All-Star game where AI and
AI.
Marbury.
Okay. Well,
AI and Marbury brought the East back one year. I'm a Laker fan, but
that was 2003, if I'm not mistaken. But that was the top one. But then what we had this year, that's been the best All-Star game since. So that's 17 years ago. All-Star games have been trash for a long time. Non-competitive, players wasn't really giving effort. I know Anthony Davis won MVP one year and he scored like 50 points. So they just kept throwing him out of use. It was like ridiculous. Like, come on, like go out and play ball, man. Like this looked like a charity basketball game. Remind me of that episode of Martin when Martin was fighting in a charity boxing match and got lumped up by Tommy Hearns and all swole. But the NBA All-Star game was a farce for years. So I'm glad they made necessary changes to bring excitement back to the game, to make it competitive. You saw some people that shrunk in the moment when that game got tight. James Harden wasn't getting nothing off. He was missing his shots and looking for the refs to bail him out and call a foul. But Embiid stepped up. Embiid started doing the work.
And not only that, they was going after James Harden. It was like whoever James Harden's sticking, get the ball,
go get the bucket. Yep.
Right, and that's what I like to see, man. Definitely.
Yeah, it was definitely an exciting change. I look forward to more of that for years to come. So he definitely should keep that. But moving on, Colin Kaepernick signed another deal. Last week we talked and we covered that he had a deal with Netflix to do a series. Colin Kaepernick also got a deal with Disney, and he partnered with them. It's going to be a 6-part series that basically is going to see his journey with his activism and what led to him protesting and things of that nature. So again, Colin Kaepernick is starting to reap the spoils of the legwork that he put in years ago. You know, he endured so much backlash, people that talked down to him, people that didn't support him. He got blackballed by the NFL, but life is coming full circle for that man, and he's starting to benefit from the work that he put in. What are your thoughts on that?
And I think now how quiet he has been has made sense, and that's going to cash him. That's going to be like big money for him because of the mystique of Colin. Mm-hmm. You know, not really knowing, you know, like I said, we've heard little things, but we haven't really heard. We've heard other people talk for him, and other people say, but we haven't really heard him. So it's going to be a lot of excitement. It's going to be something that people are going to look forward to, and it's going to do big numbers, and I think be very successful because of his mystique of not being in front of a microphone, not basically saying we're going to get to see all of this. And I think it's going to be that's one of it. I think he got some other things coming too through the Disney deal. I think that wasn't the only thing. So I think it's really looking like, you know, as far as a NFL career, like he's bigger than his NFL career.
Absolutely.
You know, like at the end of the day, his NFL career is for him. If that's something he wants to do, he has nothing to prove to anybody. You know, and when the history books say his name, he played in the NFL. Like, it's not going to be about the Super Bowl that he lost, or it's going to be about the things that he's done that aren't sports related.
Right.
That is going to tell his story.
Yeah, he's made a bigger mark than just sports. But I mean, he has an active endorsement deal with Nike, and he hasn't played football since 2016. He's gotten a deal he struck with Netflix. He's now gotten this deal with Disney, and I'm sure he's going to continue to get other things done as well. And he's really making a mark, and he's leaving a legacy behind because he decided to stand up for what he believed in, and he tried to invoke change. And unfortunately, that fell on a lot of deaf ears. But now the climate has changed, and people have to eat crow, and they put their foot in their mouth, so to speak, because they were not getting behind his real message. And at the end of the day, it's coming full circle and look like Colin Kaepernick is the one that's winning and the other people are losing.
Yeah, no doubt. Congratulations to Cap and all the things he got going on this year, man.
Absolutely. So moving on, it's time for our NFC North breakdown. That's the division that we're on this week. And
yes, sir.
That's the division where Neef's team is, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yes, sir.
The Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears and the Detroit Lions, team of mine back today. Barry Sanders is my favorite player ever in the history of football. So I was a Lions fan as a kid initially until I realized I was supposed to be an Eagles fan. So I'm going to just throw that out there for the folks because I don't want Neve coming back and trying to blindside me.
No, already got you.
Or grind me up about it. But just looking at that division, I really see things remaining the same, to be honest. Detroit lost Matt Stafford this past season, who was their franchise quarterback. He's a good quarterback, not a great quarterback in my opinion. Matt Stafford has put up some crazy stats and numbers over the year, but I think those are hollow stats because oftentimes Detroit is losing, so they're in comeback mode. So of course you're going to get statistics because you got to throw the ball around. It actually makes him look better than what he really is. But I don't think they made enough roster adjustments and changes that's going to benefit them and really boost them up to be a player or get in the playoffs. But I see Detroit coming in fourth place in that division. They lost Darius Slay, who was their best defensive player, who's now the Philadelphia Eagle, thank God, in a trade. But I don't think they made enough key additions to really make some noise. Matt Patricia is their head coach, former New England Patriot defensive coordinator. And I know he rubbed a lot of players the wrong way, but I don't see them making really any noise this season. What's your thoughts on that?
I think this is another one of those squads who just has it's like you need to just clean everything out and get some fresh. I'm talking about in the offices, you know. Start at the top. Probably move on from Matthew Stafford and just start brand new. Let him go and try to achieve some success somewhere else because it's not going to happen with him there. They picked up the young exciting running back. He's from Philly. I can't remember what college he went to. I'm talking about you, G. Well, running back. I can't think of his name right now. They got a couple. I kind of like their what they call them. Their receivers and running backs. I kind of like them. I like what they
Kenny
call
Golladay, Marvin Jones. T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah.
But when I think Detroit, I just think perennial loser.
Right. It's an attitude thing. They're just not a winning organization. So it's like it don't matter what they do, they're still going to lose anyway. Right. They're not strong enough on the offensive line. Their running game has been inconsistent for years. Kerryon Johnson is a guy they drafted out of Auburn 2 or 3 years ago, but he constantly has knee injuries, and they just can't remain consistent. So I don't see them doing much. But just moving on from Detroit. Right.
Third place, I see the Chicago Bears coming in third place. They do have talent on the defensive side of the ball. They have some talent at wide receiver as well. But they made the biggest blunder in draft history by not drafting Patrick Mahomes, not drafting Deshaun Watson, and they traded up and drafted Mitchell Trubisky with the second pick, and they are suffering the consequences of that blunder still. He's very inconsistent. He didn't even start at North Carolina his whole entire career. Like he didn't really have a track record that warranted him being the second player in the draft. So now their offense is anemic. Matt Nagy is their coach, but Matt Nagy didn't bring in Trubisky. The front office did. Coaches are typically tied to their quarterback. They don't have an explosive runner. Tyreek Cohen is like a gadget player. They drafted David Montgomery out of Stanford last year, but the Bears, the offense, they can't score enough points to really make a difference. And their defense took a step back this past season. I don't really see that changing this upcoming season for them.
Now, this is the problem with the Chicago Bears. The problem, first of all, let's address the Nick Foles situation. Nick Foles was a lucky guy. Nick Foles had a run with the Eagles, and he won a bunch of games. Then he was terrible. Then he came back he went to Kansas City. He went to the Rams. I think it was the Rams. With the Kansas City.
Then Kansas City.
Terrible everywhere. Came back. I can't think of his name right now. Who's the quarterback for the Eagles? I can't think of his name right off the top of my head.
Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz was having a MVP season.
Yep.
And everybody slept on Nick Foles for being Nick Foles. I feel like even my Vikings did. In that playoff series, everybody felt like the Eagles couldn't win. and they had some trick plays and they won. Nick Foles is terrible.
Time out.
Hold on.
Absolutely not.
Hold on, you get with me.
Absolutely
now,
not.
Hold on.
We're not going to do that trick play nonsense.
Hold on. What Chicago should have did was Chicago should have went and got Cam Newton and gave him some money, and then we'd be talking about a different Chicago Bears team with that awesome defense that just added Robert Quinn. Got what's my man name?
Hakeem Hicks, Khalil Mack,
52. Khalil Mack,
Roquan Smith, Leonard Lloyd.
Come on, Leonard Lloyd. I thought you going.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Right.
Eddie Jackson, that safety.
Right. They got a squad on that defense. You go get Cam Newton. Cam Newton we don't know what the show they're going to be is better than Mitch Trubisky and
right
combined.
I agree.
That's the issue.
I agree.
Then you got a better Tyreek Cohen. You got a better Montgomery. Then you got Allen out there and you got Miller.
Yeah.
On both sides.
Right.
You give Cam that. We talking about playoffs at least around there, 8-8, 9-7. Right, exactly. With that defense.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. It's just bonehead decisions by the front office of the organization. So they made a quarterback blunder in the draft, like we just spoke of. Then they went out and compounded it by going out and signing Nick Foles, like he's going to make a difference. Nick Foles is a system player. He fit the Philadelphia Eagles system when Andy Reid was the coach, and he had a phenomenal year where he threw 27 touchdown passes and two interceptions. So he fit the system, but he's not a star player, and it boggles my mind that scouts can't figure that out. So some players are great, and some players are difference makers, and some players are just system players. And Nick Foles is a system player.
Right.
But, I mean, hey, I'm not a Bears fan, so I'm not losing no sleep over it. But coming in second place in the division, I think the Green Bay Packers are going to come in second place. Aaron Rodgers still can ball out. And I think we touched on this when we did the Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers debate, but I don't understand why Green Bay didn't give Aaron Rodgers more weapons, more pass catchers in the offseason. It's just stupid. Green Bay had a heck of a year this past season. They went 13-3. They made it to the NFC Championship and got destroyed by the 49ers. They just can't play with the 49ers' current roster because they blew them out in the regular season, and they repeated the same thing in the playoffs as well. Green Bay, they do have some players on defense. They have Preston Smith on one end, and they have the other Smith on the other end that they got from more free agency. And those boys are a formidable terror coming off the edge with rushing the passer. And they have some nice pieces in the secondary as well. But because they didn't add more weapons as far as the pass catchers, I don't think they're going to take a step forward. They're probably going to take a step back, in my opinion. I see them probably having like a 10-6 year if they stay healthy. This is their second year with Matt LaFleur and his system, so they might get some more continuity and familiarity with the system. But I don't see them repeating what they did last year.
I like Aaron Jones a whole lot. His name Aaron Jones, right?
Yeah, yep.
Fantasy, I love them. It seems like he only got two weapons. It seems like he only got Aaron Jones and Adams.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like at the other two receiver spots, it's like musical chairs, right?
Yeah,
you don't know. One week you got some guy getting off, and because we fantasy guys, he be like, all right, Aaron got a second guy,
They got Marcus Valdez, Scantling, Geronimo Allison, and
then they get the big receiver who's playing for Carolina.
Devin Funchess.
Yeah, I think they got him too, right?
Man, Devin Funchess is old and slow. I mean, whoever Devin Funchess is playing for, he's not a difference maker. I mean, he's like a Jordan Matthews type player, in my opinion. But I know Devin Funchess played with the Colts this past season, so he might have signed with Green Bay, but he's not a difference maker. That's the problem. You need difference makers. You need guys that can be explosive. They can catch the ball and take it to the house, so they can at least keep moving the chains. And Green Bay, they did a piss poor job in giving Aaron Rodgers some more weapons. Right.
And I think when you look at that might play a part too in a couple games. Like Aaron Rodgers, I don't think he's happy. I don't think he's. So I mean, unhappy Aaron Rodgers might not be, stat-wise. I mean, you never know. He might ball out and have something to prove, but it might, And it was a lot of games that they had an easy schedule and stuff. So that 13-3 look a little crazy anyway.
Yeah, that's a good point, Neef, because they're going to be playing the first place schedule this year. I didn't even take that into consideration. So that's definitely also going to factor in as well. But what's funny and ironic is that Brett Favre was still playing at a high level, and Green Bay drafted Aaron Rodgers. And now the same thing happened to Aaron Rodgers. He's still playing at a high level, and
Right.
Green Bay goes out and spends the first round draft pick on Jordan Love. But
Right.
we'll see how that plays out.
And let's not. It's been rumored. I never met the man, but Aaron Rodgers has been rumored to be sort of a jerk. So,
Well, that was the word on him for years, but it seems like the past few seasons that he's starting to come around and round into form in his leadership, and I think he learned from some of his past mistakes.
Right.
He has spoken up on the current climate of things in the country, and been very vocal about that. He also called out Drew Brees when Drew Brees had his blunder and his gaffe with his outlook on things. So I think he's turning the corner in that regard. But coming in first place, I see your Minnesota Vikings coming in first place in the NFC North this year. The Vikings have a lot of talent at a lot of different positions. Y'all have a star running back in Dalvin Cook. Y'all have a decent quarterback in Kirk Cousins. He finally got over the hump this year and went down to New Orleans on the road and beat the Saints at the Superdome. So that was impressive because the knock on him for years is that Kirk Cousins can't perform or win against winning teams. Adam Thielen is underrated. And it's funny because I actually just saw a couple top 10 lists on ESPN today, and they were ranking like the top 10 wide receivers, and Adam Thielen wasn't on that list. And I think they're out of their mind, and they're playing themselves. Adam Thielen is a beast, and he balls out. He has speed to burn. He has amazing hands. He's an excellent route runner. Y'all have Kyle Rudolph still. Y'all have Smith at tight end as well. Upgraded offensive line, and Minnesota has a lot of stars on the defensive side of the ball. Y'all lost Everson Griffin, but y'all have so much talent at other positions. I think that they can withstand that loss. And if I'm not mistaken, they did draft a D lineman to replace him. But I see Minnesota coming in first place, and I think they'll probably have like an 11-5 record this upcoming year.
Well, sometimes I feel like it's sometimes an addition by subtraction. I loved Stephon Diggs, but the negative energy, that's not it. I like Justin Jefferson coming in. I want to see what Tajay Sharp does. He was with Tennessee for a little minute, but
he's underrated.
I don't know if he really playing with Mariota. I don't know if he really got a chance to show what he has. I think he's from Philly too, or from Jersey. This area I know he is. What's the Rhodes, Xavier Rhodes, another one. Like the corners, man, all that money he was getting, I feel like we got younger, we got rid of some negative energy in the locker room, and you still got Harrison Smith there, you still got Kendricks there,
right?
You still got Barr, you still got Hunter, it's still some pieces there, and they still like in their 20s. Got to get some young guys in there and see what we can do. So I'm looking forward to it. Cook. And we got some running backs behind Cook too, man. That I like too. So it's not all on
Madison and Boone.
Man, I like Madison and I like Boone. So I like because I'm a little worried about Cook's health. He hasn't played a full season since he's been in the league. So with those two guys, I feel more safe or more if he goes down, I'm not going to lose it. But Kirk Cousins just gotta be smart. Don't throw any picks. Play smart. You got to punt the ball, let the defense do the defense do. And,
right.
And I feel good about the 11-5, and, I think you're right on that, G.
Okay. So still staying in our NFL, top 3 receiving cores in the NFL is what we're going to cover now. I'm actually going to give you the floor. And if you have your 3, you can just go ahead and just name your 3.
Okay. Now, I'm going to name my 3, but before that, I want to name one more team that won't be in anybody's top 5 or anything, but I'm excited to see how they look, and that's the Denver Broncos. It's something about the guys they got. They got Kamler from Penn State. I think his name Kamler, I think.
Hamlin.
Yeah. They got a couple pieces. I can't name everybody right now. I'm sorry, but they've been
Jerry
on my
Jeudy.
mind.
Jerry Jeudy, Hamlin, Cortland Sutton.
Got Sutton there. Yeah.
Noah Fant.
Yeah, right. They got some pieces.
I got a category for them. They're going to go in your honorable mention because I'm
honorable mentions,
honorable mentions as well. So
honorable mentions. My number 1 receiving core in the league honestly, we just talking about receivers or do tight ends count?
They count as well. So I want you to take into consideration the tight ends, the wide receivers, and the running backs. That's all the weapons for the quarterback.
Right.
All that counts.
Okay. So number one is Kansas City then. I like Kansas City. It's a lot of names you don't know, but they fast. Like they got like a lot of 4-3 guys. You can't like that speed, and they always picking the right kind of guys. And if Hunt didn't do the dumb stuff he did, if you'd have kept Hunt there, oh my goodness, they'd be crazy. Because Kareem Hunt was a monster.
Yes.
So I like Kansas City. That's my first receiving core.
We agree.
Second receiving core, I'm gonna go to Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We got to see if Tom Brady can get to him, but if they put up the numbers they put up with
Winston,
and you add Gronk to that, and Gronk might not ever be the Gronk that we're used to, but Gronk is still. Then you still got OJ
Howard,
and you got Brath, B-R-A-T-H.
Oh, Cameron Brate.
Right, Brate. Right, we ain't got an H, got a T. So when I look at that, them two big receivers,
Godwin, Mike Evans.
Man, listen. They're to me the second best receiving core in the league. Okay. To me. When I go to third, I want to say the Cowboys. I want to say them adding
CeeDee Lamb.
Oh my goodness! Already with only thing they don't got that. I don't trust their tight ends. So they tight end Baldwin, he okay. And you don't expect Elliott to catch no balls out the backfield like that.
No, he do. He's actually good for about 50 catches a year. He stepped his game up. He catches a lot of screen passes or dump offs and things of that nature from Dak. But I understand why you chose Dallas, but Dallas.
Yes.
So okay.
Who you got? You got the Browns.
You got Kansas City. You got Tampa Bay, and you got Dallas as your top three. You gave Denver an honorable mention.
And this is all off the top because I did forget about that. I did forget to look that up. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm slipping.
It's all good.
It's been a rough week.
It's all good. Well,
you gonna say somebody that I'm probably going to agree with?
My honorable mention. I have Dallas as honorable mention because they do have some studs. I mean, Amari Cooper is a beast. Michael Gallup, he stepped up and he had 1,000-yard receiving year, and he's fast and can stretch the field. Zeke is a problem. CeeDee Lamb was added, but he's a rookie, so I can only give but so much for adding a rookie because you don't know what you're going to get out of a rookie.
Right.
Something that prevents rookies from having success is not learning the playbook. And so I don't know what CeeDee Lamb is going to do. So I can't just boost him up because of that addition. He was one of the best in the draft, but honorable mention is where they go for me. Also, the Cleveland Browns, honorable mention.
Okay.
The Browns has some firework. The Browns have Odell Beckham. They got Jarvis Landry. They got Kareem Hunt. They have David Njoku. And then they have some other pieces as well, but their quarterback is so-so. He's average, so they have to go do it on the field for me to give them their due. I'm not giving them their due for being paper champions because that doesn't count for anything.
Right.
So they get honorable mention as well. But I'm in agreement with you. I have Kansas City. They definitely have the best wide receiving core in the NFL. Travis Kelce is the best tight end in football, and it's not even debatable. He's super explosive. He can take a 5-yard catch to the house. I mean, I really didn't see teams run tight end screens until Andy Reid started doing it with Kelce, and he did it because of his skill set. He's so versatile and fast. Tyreek Hill is a top 5 wide receiver in NFL, in my opinion. He don't get called the cheetah for no reason, but that man got 4.2 speed, and he can catch a screen or a slant and take it to the house, or he could go over the top for a bomb like he did in the Super Bowl. And then you have Sammy Watkins. Sammy Watkins was a top 10 pick in the draft.
Oh, he's a sleeper. If he balled, they unbeatable.
Yeah, so Sammy Watkins was a top 10 draft pick. His problem has been staying healthy. So you have a guy with his talent, with Kelce, with Tyreek Hill, and then they drafted Mecole Hardman, who's another 4.2 guy. And you got Robinson, and there's another guy that was a rookie that popped up and brought some things to the table. And I love the way they utilize their running backs in the passing game as well. Damian Williams is another 4-3 guy. He's fast as crap. So that's why Shady didn't play, because Damian Williams was a good fit for their system. So we definitely agree with KC having the number one.
Then they drafted that little running back too in the beginning of the second round. Out of LSU.
Yeah, they did. So they added some more firepower. Tampa Bay coming in number 2. I'm in agreement with that, because Mike Evans is a perennial Pro Bowler. He's 6'5", and he's a problem. Chris Godwin emerged this year as a big play threat and was just hard to deal with. O.J. Howard was a first-round draft pick at tight end, and he's a problem. Gronk is a future Hall of Famer, so he doesn't have to be the Gronk from New England. Whatever he brings to them is just an extra addition. But coming in at number 3, I had the New Orleans Saints as the third best receiver. The Saints have Michael Thomas, who his handle is "Can't Guard Mike" on Twitter. Nobody can guard Mike. He just broke the NFL record and had 149 receptions in one season. See, the thing is, teams know he's going to get the ball, and they still can't stop him. And he's not a speed guy. He's a technique guy. He's a hell of a route runner. He has amazing hands. But on top of that, they signed Emmanuel Sanders in the offseason. So Emmanuel Sanders, he got traded to San Fran mid-season, and he helped elevate the offense to the next level, which helped San Fran make it to the Super Bowl. He left San Fran, and he went to New Orleans in the offseason. They still got Ted Ginn. They also got Jared Cook at tight end. Jared Cook is a real good tight end. He's versatile. He's like 6'3", 6'4". He's fast. He's made the Pro Bowl before. They still got Alvin Kamara coming out of the backfield. He's a problem. He's an X factor. So I had the Saints coming in at number 3 as far as our top 3 receiving cores. But we was on the same tip with number 1 and number 2. We just had a difference of opinion with number 3.
And we got to say about Michael Thomas too that Drew Brees missed 5 games? With the 5 games that he missed?
Yeah, he missed a handful of games. It was like 5 to 8 games that he missed. And Michael Thomas was playing with the backup, and he still was balling out and putting up numbers.
I think Alvin Kamara got to show us something. I think he kind of took a step back last year. Maybe it was help. But, he wasn't as, that same guy he was the first 2 years, I felt like. So
He definitely wasn't. But moving on, we get to our nitty-gritty, our best segment of the show.
What's that?
This week we got a good one. Who's the better player? The answer, Allen Iverson or Zeke, Isaiah Thomas, the leader of the bad boy Pistons.
Okay. Now, I'm going to let y'all know something. See, when G do this, he thinks a certain way. He thinks he already knows who I'm going to go with. And so
that is not true. That is not true, ladies and gentlemen.
I feel like I'm about to shock G because I'm going with Isaiah Thomas. All-around player. First of all, when you think of Isaiah, and I don't even remember this, but I've been watching enough basketball TV and stuff like that, NBA TV, to know, and I've seen things, that Isaiah Thomas, before they was the bad boys and all physical, Isaiah Thomas was a bucket and was explosive on the offense end. So, and we seen him play with that leg messed up, hopping around the court. Isaiah a problem. And so when I think about it, and I don't have any stats to give you, I'm going to do just eye test. Don't get me wrong. AI is AI. He's the answer. AI a bucket, one of the most entertaining players to watch on the basketball court. It's really him one on five for real. Amazing. But as far as leading your team, I would want Isaiah to lead my team before AI. So for me personally, I'm going to go with Isaiah.
So Isaiah is a better player than Allen Iverson, is what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I like to get a resume, and I actually I got excited just looking at this matchup and looking into their accomplishments in their career. AI made his name with the Sixers, so, we got to watch him firsthand for years. Just to get their resume, Allen Iverson is 11-time All-Star, 7-time All-NBA player, 1-time league MVP. He's a 2-time All-Star Game MVP, 4-time scoring champion. In career averages, he averaged 27 points a game, 4 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 steals. AI played about 18 years. He played 15 years in the NBA, and no, I stand corrected. He played 18 years.
Did he?
Yeah, he played 18 years.
Because Kobe played 20. I don't know, G. I don't know if he played that long.
All right, so it was
might be right.
15?
It might be. I don't
15-year career? Okay. But the amount of years consecutive that he averaged over 20 points per game, it was like ridiculous. The way that he dominated and scored and stuff like that, it was crazy. When I went back and looked at his numbers, I'm like, yo, he was killing people. My man averaged over 30 points a game, like so many seasons. The way he was doing, if Iverson was 6'6", he might have been the greatest player in NBA history. If he was 6'6". But Iverson is the jack of all jacks. I went back and looked at the numbers, man. Shots per game in his rookie season, Iverson averaged 20 shots a game. For his career, he averaged 22 shots a game. He had one season where he was averaging 27.8 shots per game. I said, who takes all these shots?
Right.
No wonder dudes ain't want to play with him. I couldn't imagine being on the team with a dude that's shooting 30 times a game. Now, Iverson's defenders will say that he didn't have anybody on his team, yada, 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 like stuff like that. But that's BS. Because when Iverson got traded from the Sixers to the Denver Nuggets, Iverson played with Andre Miller, who is not a bum. Andre Miller had a 50-point game in his career, so that just lets
underrated.
You know he can play basketball. Melo was in his 4th year in the NBA when Iverson went to Denver. Carmelo Anthony was in his 4th year. He had Kenyon Martin, who was only in his 6th or 7th year in the league, so he still was young and in his prime. He had Marcus Camby, who was a vet. He was in his 10th year in the league.
Around his age, right?
He had Nene. Nene Hilario was like in his 5th year in the league, so he still was young and in his prime, and he could ball. J.R. Smith was coming off the bench. So he had players to play with. My problem with AI is the lack of winning, lack of success. If my memory serves me correctly, he played 15 seasons in the NBA. He only made it to the playoffs 8 years out of his 15 years in the NBA. So Iverson is one of the most exciting players to ever play basketball. But all that gunning and jacking, that's not winning basketball. So I'm not surprised that he only made it to the playoffs 8 years in his career. You got to play team ball. Now, James,
he ran a lot of people off before that. You think about Stackhouse being there. Tim Thomas before. I think they drafted Tim Thomas. No, they drafted they drafted Van Horn.
Yes.
They traded Van Horn.
Yes.
So I mean, he had talent, but he never. My biggest problem with AI, you said if he was 6'6", definitely. If AI was willing to change his game and willing to sacrifice more, instead of just wanting to shoot all the time, I feel like he could achieve more success in his career. Also,
absolutely. Now Isaiah Thomas, Zeke, he a 12-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA. He's a 2-time All-Star Game MVP. He's a 1-time Finals MVP. He won 2 championships. His career, he averaged 19 points, 4 rebounds, 9.3 assists, and 2 steals a game. What stood out to me was Isaiah Thomas had 4 straight seasons where he averaged over 20 points and over 10 assists a game for 4 straight years. In the 84-85 season, Isaiah Thomas averaged 21 points a game and 14 assists a game, 4.5 boards and 2 steals. So what's funny is, when players play in professional sports, people always look for comparisons. And the only person that I could ever compare Allen Iverson to was Isaiah Thomas, as far as his style of play and what he did on the court. But Isaiah Thomas was a winner. The Pistons went to the NBA Finals 3 straight years, and it should have been 4 straight years if he didn't make that bad pass against Boston back in the 1986 season. He made a pass, and then the commentator said, Bird stole the ball, and then he threw it to Dennis Johnson for the layup, and Boston ended up coming back and winning it in 7 games. But the Pistons should have went to 4 straight finals. But Isaiah Thomas, he was different, man. He's underrated in historical context because he was a beast on the defensive end. He was unstoppable on the offensive end, and he led his team to a couple of titles as well. And he got shafted off of being a part of the Dream Team for John Stockton. But I say that I choose Isaiah Thomas as well over Allen Iverson. I don't like disrespecting history. I like to give players their just due, and too often as time goes on, today's players, well, not today's players, but just younger people that don't know their history, they disrespect the past. And I'm not disrespecting Isaiah, because Isaiah, he did his thing, and he deserves all the credit that we're giving him right now. And if I'm picking one over the other, I take Isaiah Thomas over Allen Iverson as well. So we was on the same page once again.
Well, I would like to say too that these are two other players who I would love to see play right now. And this
In
open
today's
floor,
NBA,
oh
they
my
would kill
goodness.
it, man.
Oh my
They would
goodness.
kill
It'd be
it.
beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
It'd be beautiful to watch them go at each other.
Absolutely.
Oh man.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
But sticking with the basketball topic, we had the question about Chris Webber. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame yet? What's your thoughts on it?
First off, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not the NBA Hall of Fame. Like the NFL is the NFL Hall of Fame.
Right.
It's the Basketball Hall of Fame. So, for the simple fact of what Michigan was able to achieve on the basketball court, what Michigan brought to basketball, the style and all that kind of stuff,
the Fab
I
Five,
think plays a part. Right. Then we talk about Sacramento. I'm pretty sure he's like a 6 or 7-time All-Star.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't for Shaq and Kobe, he might have got a ring.
And the referee Donahue.
Right. So when I see the guys who are going in, Tracy McGrady, who was explosive, but maybe had a 5-6 year run as far as a career of being real good. I don't see how Chris Webber ain't in the Hall of Fame yet. It don't make any sense.
Yeah,
because everybody's in the Hall of Fame.
Webber changed several franchises, man. First, his dominance at Michigan, what the Fab Five did for the culture, them going to the NCAA finals consecutive years. He was the number 1 overall pick, and he led the Golden State Warriors to the playoffs. He got traded to Washington. He led the Bullets to the playoffs. They got aired out by Mike in the Bulls, but he still led them to the playoffs when they were a downtrodden organization. And then once he got traded to Sacramento were doormats in the NBA for years. He made them relevant. I mean, they made it to the Western Conference Finals, and they got cheated. They did get cheated because that referee, Tim Donaghy, basically manipulated that game. He called a gazillion fouls on Sacramento in Game 6 of that series against the Lakers back in 2001, I believe it was, or 2002, and he was betting on the side. So he had an incentive to basically screw them over. Had that not happened, Webber probably would have got a ring because I think if Sacramento made the finals, they still would have beat the Eastern Conference team as well. But do you think that Chris Webber's issues with the University of Michigan, with them alleging that he took improper benefits and stuff like that, and then like Michigan kind of shunned him, do you think they're holding that over his head, and that's part of why he hasn't gotten elected into the Basketball Hall of Fame so far?
I mean, when you look at it, I think so. I think it plays a part. And then it's like him and them guys ain't even on the same page. I know him and Jalen definitely ain't on the same page,
right?
Or haven't been. I think that might play a part in the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame. Can I point out a couple of mistakes by Chris Webber?
Sure.
He's very famous. Remember the timeout that he had no more timeouts?
Yeah, that was at Michigan in the championship game when he traveled.
That was crazy. He's done little goofy stuff like him and AI when he was with the Sixers, not leaving with the team, and just little stuff. I feel like I want to point out also that the Washington Bullets or Washington Wizards had Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, and Rasheed Wallace.
Yeah, they did.
On the same squad.
That's crazy.
And you trade Chris Webber for
a bag of Skittles.
Oh, Mitch Richmond. Was it Mitch Richmond? I don't know, but that was crazy.
That's how Mitch got in Washington?
I think so. But no, because Mitch started off with Golden State, then went to Sacramento.
No, Sacramento was his last stop. Was
it?
Yeah, he went from Golden State to Washington, and then then he went to Sacramento.
Then they got Rod Strickland from Portland.
Rod was underrated.
That's how she ended up in what's the name? So that's just those are when we talk about Chris, those are just things that stick out. And not only he's never really admitted to, or is something. What's the issue with him and Gentleman? He threw somebody under the bus, or
I don't know. I mean, they had that beef with the University of Michigan, and then the end of that championship game against North Carolina with the traveling and him calling timeout. He was crushed by it, and I think I'm only assuming that Webber felt like he was like thrown under the bus, kind of sort of, and they never made things right in that regard. They did that documentary on the Fab Five and
30 for 30,
not to be a part of it. If he is innocent of what they accuse him of, then I can see why he's pissed off, because they talking about he took money and he was struggling to find food to eat. He had money to get haircuts and stuff like that. And like we talked about the NCAA making money off the athletes. Well, the Fab Five, they made a lot of money off of them.
A lot.
Tons of money. So, I mean, if he feel like he was wronged, I can see him being hesitant to be a part of certain things. But at some point, I mean, life is short. I hope that he comes around and rights those wrongs, those relationships, because life is short, man. You shouldn't be living and holding grudges and things of that nature. But he definitely should be in the Hall of Fame by now. I think we both agree on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We going to end it right there?
Just touching on Fight 3 coming up.
Okay.
With Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. They're set to fight in December 2020. Do you think they should fight again a third time?
I think they should fight again just for the entertainment. That, you know, I mean, ain't too many heavyweights out there that we want to see. Yeah, I mean, why not? Of course, I'm going to watch it. We're definitely going to watch it. You know, it's definitely something I will see. I mean, who else? You know, yeah. I want to see those guys go again.
Well, Anthony Joshua was one of the champs, and
right.
Him and Wilder were rumored to fight for years, but they never got the contracts together. Unfortunately, politics with boxing. But it'll be interesting because Tyson Fury, he gives Wilder problems,
right?
Because he is very unique in his approach, but he can box and he outwits Wilder. Wilder is a fighter; he's not a boxer as far as from a strategy.
Right. He's a slugger. Would you say slugger?
He's a big puncher. He's a big puncher, but he's not a strategist.
Right.
And he's not going to outwit his opponent.
Right.
But Tyson Fury, he's quirky and unorthodox is the word that I was looking for.
Right.
So he gives Wilder a lot of problems. He usually had it when it comes to matchups with sports.
Right.
He's just not a good matchup for him. So I don't think that he's going to win the third fight if they do fight again.
No.
But we'll see what happens.
It'll be entertaining. All the leading up to it will be entertaining. And Wilder better chill talking to Mike Tyson like you talking about what he'll do to Mike Tyson. Because Mike Tyson at 53. The biggest problem with Mike Tyson was mentally. Mentally right Mike Tyson is scary to me still at 53.
Really? Mike not making no noise in the ring, man. Mike need to hang it up. He need to go sit down somewhere.
Wilder talking real greasy about who he could beat, who he can't beat, man. I don't know.
Wilder need to worry about him getting knocked out because Fury put them hands on him last time.
And ain't nobody trying to hear nothing about your costume, bro. Oh, my costume, it was 40 pounds on my neck. Who told you to do all that?
He chose to wear it. That was his own doing. Nobody told him to make that stupid decision.
Man, listen, he was embarrassed. He didn't only lose, he got embarrassed.
Yeah, I agree.
Embarrassed.
I agree.
He ain't looked right since the first or second round. He took one of them punches.
He had spaghetti legs, man.
Yeah. No power behind them punches.
He was done. But y'all can find me on Instagram and on Twitter, G Perry 215, and y'all can check the pod out on YouTube. We're on Google Podcasts. We're on Breaker. As well. We appreciate all of our viewers. We appreciate all of our listeners that's been tuning in. We're only going to get better and bigger with what we're doing. We're appreciative for the love and for the support. Neef, you can let the folks know where they can catch you at.
I'm on Anti-Sports Blitz Podcast everywhere. Twitter, Instagram. We on YouTube, like G said. You know, we coming with that. We come with that fire, man. We getting better every week, so stand by, man. You know, we're gonna keep coming with it, keep talking that real sports. You know, that's what we're doing here.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. So we look forward to getting back on, and we will see y'all next week. Thanks again for tuning in to the NT Sports Blitz. We catch y'all next week.
Y'all be safe out there. Wear y'all mask, man. All right, G.